He waited 8 days. 8 days of silence while the entire football world argued about what really happened on that field at MetLife Stadium. And when Lionel Messi finally spoke, he didn't hand fans the closure they wanted. He handed them something heavier. For over a week after the 2026 World Cup final, Lionel Messi said almost nothing in public. He skipped the open-top bus parade his Argentina teammates enjoyed in Buenos Aires and instead traveled straight to his hometown of Rosario, choosing to process the loss privately rather than in front of cameras. That silence, on its own, became a story. Fans dissected his body language from the medal ceremony. Reporters camped on speculation. Teammates were asked again and again whether this really had been his last World Cup. Then Messi posted to Instagram. It wasn't a retirement announcement. It wasn't a farewell. But it was raw in a way his public statements rarely are. He wrote that the pain was very great and that the wound was going to take a long time to heal. He followed it with a note of gratitude toward the people who had supported him along the way. Short, unpolished. Nothing like the confident, composed Messi fans are used to seeing after a final whistle. That's the part that's now spreading everywhere, and it's why the framing of breaking his silence isn't clickbait exaggeration this time. For over a week, the most decorated player of his generation said nothing. Then he finally did, and instead of putting the speculation to rest, he confirmed the one thing nobody wanted to hear. This hurt him more than any of his previous losses, and he still doesn't know what comes next. To understand why that post landed the way it did, you have to go back to the final itself. Spain beat Argentina 1-0 in extra time at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, denying Messi and Argentina a chance at back-to-back World Cup titles. Ferran Torres scored the only goal in the 106th minute off a Nico Williams assist, and Argentina never recovered. Enzo Fernandez picked up 2 yellow cards late in regulation, leaving Argentina down a man heading into extra time. Perhaps the most telling statistic of the entire match, Argentina did not register a single shot in regulation time. Messi played every one of the match's 120-plus minutes, roughly a month removed from his 39th birthday. He finished with just 15 touches of the ball, compared to 26 for Lamine Yamal, and his best opportunity came in the 5th minute when Julian Alvarez played him through with only goalkeeper Unai Simon to beat, a chance Simon got to first. After that, Argentina managed almost nothing going forward. It was, statistically, one of the most one-sided finals in recent World Cup history, and the player who usually bends these moments toward himself was, for long stretches, a bystander in his own final chapter. By full time, Messi was visibly shattered. Cameras caught him sitting alone on the grass afterward, legs out in front of him, staring at nothing while Spain celebrated a few yards away. It's the image that's been replayed everywhere since. Not a moment of anger, but of a man absorbing something enormous in real time. Before we get to why Messi's silence turned into something not good, it's worth revisiting the moment that briefly made this entire story feel warm instead of heavy. Lamine Yamal, the 19-year-old who had just become a world champion, walked away from his own team's celebration to find Messi on the grass, helped him up, and pulled him into a long embrace. Nobody caught the audio in real time, and for days the internet filled that silence with guesses. Yamal eventually addressed it in interviews, describing the gesture as a show of respect toward a player he has admired for as long as he can remember. He's been consistent about not caring whether he personally scores or gets individual recognition, saying publicly on multiple occasions that all that ever mattered to him was Spain lifting the trophy. That mindset was on display again after the final whistle, when he chose to spend the biggest moment of his young career consoling the man he'd just beaten. That embrace is genuinely one of the more touching images to come out of the tournament. But it's also, in hindsight, a moment that now reads very differently. At the time, it looked like a passing of the torch delivered with warmth on both sides. Now, with Messi's Instagram post and the reporting that followed it, that same hug looks less like a celebration of what's next and more like a goodbye that Messi himself may not have been ready to say out loud yet. Here's where the story gets uncomfortable for Argentina fans specifically. In the days following the final, teammate Leandro Paredes gave an interview in which he admitted that losing the final hurt, in part, because the squad had spent the tournament believing Messi had already privately decided this would be his last run with the national team. Paredes' comments suggest that inside the Argentina camp, this wasn't treated as idle speculation, it was something players were quietly bracing for throughout the competition, which adds real weight to why the locker room reportedly felt so heavy afterward. Ángel Di Maria, who played alongside Messi for well over a decade in Argentina colors, pushed back publicly on the idea that age should force his friend into a decision, arguing that Messi has shown no ceiling and could realistically continue for years if he wants to. It's a loyal, heartfelt defense from a teammate, but it's also notable that Di Maria felt the need to make that argument publicly at all. You don't mount a case for someone continuing unless people around you are seriously discussing them stopping. Head coach Lionel Scaloni, for his part, has tried to keep the door open without confirming anything. When asked directly about circulating rumors and a viral clip of Messi speaking to teammates, Scaloni told Argentine outlet TIC Sports that he wasn't aware of the online chatter and had no information to share, while firmly denying any suggestion of a rift inside the squad. It's the kind of answer that manages to say almost nothing while confirming that the questions themselves haven't gone away. Whatever Messi decides, the final didn't erase what he accomplished across the tournament. He finished the 2026 World Cup as its second highest scorer, with 8 goals and 4 assists, remarkable output for a player a month past his 39th birthday. He played his 34th career World Cup match in that final, more than anyone else in the competition's history, and across 5 World Cup appearances he now holds 21 career goals and 12 assists on the tournament's biggest stage. He also broke a record that had stood since 1958. At 39 years and roughly a month old, Messi became the oldest outfield player ever to appear in a World Cup final, surpassing Sweden's Gunnar Gren, who was 37 when he played in the 1958 final. That's a record that survived nearly 7 decades, broken by a man trying to do something no nation has managed in over 60 years: win back-to-back World Cups. None of that softened the moment for Messi himself. Reports from multiple outlets describe him as composed through most of the immediate aftermath, only to be overcome with emotion later, during the medal ceremony, when the full weight of the loss and what it might mean seemed to catch up with him all at once. That's usually the tell people point to when someone senses an ending is close, even if they aren't ready to say so publicly. This is where the story splits into 2 very different tracks. On one side, you have Messi's own emotional state, a player who says the wound will take time to heal, who skipped the celebrations, who reportedly told teammates something that made them brace for a goodbye. On the other side, you have the Argentine Football Association and much of the football world trying to talk him out of walking away entirely. According to Spanish outlet Marca, the Argentina Football Association is hoping Messi continues with the national team through at least the 2028 Copa America, giving him another opportunity to represent the country before any final decision. Separately, Argentine journalist Gaston Edel of TIC Sports has reported that the World Cup final was not expected to be Messi's last appearance at the international level, suggesting he could continue at least through the next Copa America cycle. Argentina and Spain are also reportedly set to meet again in the Finalissima, a matchup that would put Messi and Yamal on the same pitch a second time regardless of what Messi ultimately decides about the World Cup specifically. It's worth remembering that Messi has stood at exactly this crossroads before, more than once. He announced his retirement from international football back in 2016 after a Copa America final defeat to Chile, only to reverse that decision 2 months later. He suggested the 2022 World Cup in Qatar might be his last before it happened, then came back to lead Argentina to the title and told reporters afterward, plainly, that he had no plans to step away from the national team. Given that history, plenty of observers are treating this latest wave of speculation with some caution, wondering if this is simply the emotional aftermath of a heartbreaking loss rather than an actual decision. Still, there are real reasons to take the current speculation more seriously than the previous false alarms. Messi is 39 now, not 32 or 35. The next World Cup is 4 years away, which would put him at 43 if he wanted to chase a 4th appearance on that stage. A stretch that even the most optimistic voices around him aren't pretending is realistic. He already has the trophy that eluded him for almost his entire career, secured in Qatar in 2022. This tournament was supposed to be the encore, the first repeat title in over 6 decades, and Spain shut that door emphatically. Then there's the tone of the Instagram post itself. Messi is not a player who publicly dramatizes his emotions. His statement after Qatar in 2022 was confident and forward-looking. He told reporters directly that he wasn't retiring and wanted to keep playing as a champion. Compare that to this year's message, an admission that the pain was very great and that healing would take real time. That's not the language of a man setting up his next chapter. It's the language of a man still sitting with the loss, unsure of what he wants to say about what comes after it. Put all of this together, and here's the uncomfortable version of the story that's spreading. Messi's silence wasn't just grief. It was, by his own teammates' account, consistent with a decision he may have already made before the final ever kicked off. The hug with Yamal, the quiet exit to Rosario, the raw Instagram post 8 days later, all of it reads less like a champion regrouping and more like a legend closing a chapter, even if the words, "I'm retiring," haven't been said yet. Scaloni and the Argentine Federation clearly want more time with him. Teammates like Di Maria are publicly making the case for him to stay. But Messi himself has offered nothing that contradicts the version of events his own locker room reportedly believed going into the final, that this may already be over, whether or not it's ever announced with a press conference and a microphone. That's the piece that makes this different from every other retirement scare Messi has weathered. It's not being driven by outside pressure or media speculation this time. It's being driven, at least in part, by what the people standing closest to him say they already understood going in. For now, there's no official announcement, no confirmed final match, and no statement from the Argentine Football Association locking in a timeline. Messi remains under contract with Inter Miami, which technically keeps the door open for him to remain available for national team selection if he chooses. Friendlies and the finalissima against Spain could still give him, and Argentina, one more chapter before any final answer arrives. But after 8 days of silence, followed by a message about pain and a wound that will take time to heal, the mood around Messi's international future has shifted. This isn't the same confident, "I'm not retiring," he offered in Doha. It's something quieter, heavier, and far less certain. And for a fan base that has spent 2 decades watching this man rewrite what's possible on a football pitch, that uncertainty is the part that's hardest to sit with. Whatever he decides, the numbers already tell you what he did in this tournament at 39 years old. What's left unanswered is whether the hug with Yamal on that MetLife Stadium grass was a passing of the torch between 2 generations still to come, or the last image football fans will ever get of Lionel Messi wearing the Argentina